Hello and welcome everyone to today's webinar on topic Supercharge software quality with AI-driven automation and continuous testing. I'm Sneha Singh, Business Development Manager at SDET Tech, and I'll be your moderator for today. SDET Tech, for unversed, is a pure play software testing company providing holistic quality assurance, quality engineering, and digital engineering solutions. SDTech is trusted by our esteemed customer across globe as their preferred QA testing partners. Since its inception in 2019, SDTech has successfully delivered numerous client projects across industry verticals and organization sizes such as healthcare, fintech, e-learning, retail, e-commerce, banking, insurance, etc. Today, as companies grow, their reliance on digital tools grow even further as a result of which delivering high quality software at a speed become non-negotiable. And today's topic is key for everyone and anyone looking to improve efficiency and speed, cut cost, and ensure top-notch quality software, all by leveraging AI-driven automation and continuous testing. So, we are delighted to have our guest today who will be speaking on this topic. Let's welcome Mr. Anshuman Ambasht and Mr. Mayank Arora, both with more than a decade of experience in software testing and quality assurance. They have helped many of our customers strategize, plan, implement, and optimize their test automation effort, all for making not only testing process work faster and more efficient, but also driving innovations across the way with our in-house framework and accelerators. Mr. Anshuman will talk about best ways to use automation in testing, while Mr. Mayank will focus on AI drive approach in continuous testing, explaining how it helps businesses keep up with fast development cycles without compromising quality. So before I hand over to our main speakers, please feel free to ask questions throughout the session by putting them in the chat, and we'll address them as a part of a Q&A session after our technical presentation. Without any further ado, over to Anshuman.
Thanks, Neha. Thanks for that introduction. Hi, everyone. Good morning and good evening. There might be people joined from the other parts of the world. So, yeah, good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. So, before we get started with this topic, Mayank and I will be showcasing how we have leveraged AI and how it has helped in improving the overall QA process. But before getting started, uh, let's understand the importance of testing and how it has evolved with time. So, yeah, thanks, Mike. So let's go back to the Stone Age, where there was a need to cast out a wheel out of a wooden block. Testing was required there as well because they cast it out as a square wheel, which did not solve the purpose. Eventually, it was molded into a round wheel. Oh, now let's go back and talk about the software era. Let's take an example of desktop application like MS Vista. It was an OS. It was not much appreciated by the end users. There might have been possibility that the testing did not go well. That's why that product failed. So it's just an example. There could be other desktop applications, web applications that did not uh, was appreciated by the customers, the end users, right? So for any of the product or any UI or web page or desktop application being developed, the testing should start from the very first day. So earlier developers, even the QAs were all testing the application, but there was no formal structure of testing, which was often leading to the escape defects, or the user in the live production environment were reporting the issues, which actually impacted the image of the company that developed that product, right? That did not look nice. So a structured QA or QA team was the need of the hour, to ensure the quality checks and ensuring that the application is released with minimum issues. So, with growing complexity of the software, functional testing emerged to ensure that each feature worked as intended. This phase introduced test case and requirement based validations. But again, manual testing is a tedious task. It involves so much repetitive works. But again, uh, then automation came into picture to ease up the life of manual testers, right? So it was a blessing of having automation in place. So with the increasing demand for faster releases and continuous integration, automation testing emerged to reduce manual efforts and accelerate testing cycles. Then came automation, and to keep up with the competition there was a need to pace up the delivery. Automating the repetitive tests, it made the lives, like I earlier mentioned. uh, so suppose we take an example of 200 regression test cases. So it usually used to take around 5 days, or 200 is just a number, that could be 1,000, right? It used to take 5 days or 2 weeks to complete the regression cycle, which was reduced considerably when automation was introduced. And automation again can be integrated with the CI/CD thing. So it has helped a lot. Now comes the era of AI. So automation and AI has to go hand in hand. So when I am talking about automation, it's not just automation of the test cases, but overall automation of the QA process. So, how AI is now transforming QA by automatically generating and executing test cases based on application behavior, significantly reducing manual intervention and human error. Yeah, there will always be human intervention because AI cannot replicate the human behavior. So, I would like to hand it over to Mayank from here, who will be showing a demo of what accomplishments that we have done and how we are using AI in our overall QA process. Over to you, Mayank.
Thank you, Anshuman. And I like the term when you said like it can't be done without human intervention. Very important point. So even if when it was the automation era or the AI era or the eras to come, human intervention is a must. Okay. So based on that, I'll give you a demo and I'll be needing your help, Anshuman, as we talk like about the tool that we are developing. Okay. So, what we tried is to make a one stop solution for the entire QA practices. Let me just log in into the application. Okay. So, I clicked on login. Okay. Now, okay. So, Anshuman, I know you were talking about after the Stone Age when we were having 2000 test cases. So that means when a functional tester starts looking at the stories, they will go through 10 stories, 20 stories. During the waterfall time, there were more than 100 stories. During Agile, in each sprint, each and every functional QA gets more than 7 8 stories, and there's a possibility one tester gets a story A, and something similar was there in story B that is assigned to a different functional tester. So coordination between two testers is a must, and the test cases that are getting overlapped, we need to figure out an approach to how to handle the integration scenarios and everything, which was a tedious effort. Now uh, Now let me go to the functional testing piece of it. So what we tried as a single stop solution here, what the person can go. So suppose all the stories are part of a single epic, or there can be multiple epics for that matter, but we'll take an example of a single epic. So what I can do is, say I go and enter the epic number KAN4. I entered and asked the AI model to generate the test cases of it. So what it will do is, this KAN board is a Jira board that we have created a mock board for this presentation. Now what it will do is, it will go to that KAN board, read through it, whatever stories that we have, it will create the test cases for each and every stories. Now because of this, now functional tester who was spending subsequent amount of time in reading out the stories, creating the test cases out of it, now they have the time leverage and thinking the next course of action, be it the automation approach that they want to take, be it the integration, or the most important thing, now with the test cases getting generated by the AI model itself, they can spend time in doing the exploratory testing. Because I have seen uh, in my past, people were writing the test cases took time. Now during the execution phase, because of the sprint cycle is very limited, stories was getting spilled over, because the coordination between two testers was taking a lot of time. Writing the scenarios, testing out these phases required additional time. Now tester will have the time to put effort in doing the functional testing, and if the functional testing is completed, they can do the exploratory testing as well, to make sure that things are getting out there with minimal number of issues. So now the story that we have passed, it's like view result decision submitted by player. This is just a mock epic that we have entered. Now based on that, it will generate the test cases. Now what we can do is directly copy this and paste it into your management tool, be it Zephyr, TestLink, Bitbucket, ADO, whatever you are using. You can directly copy paste it, and in the future scope you will have the option here itself as a checkbox and a button import to zero. So suppose it has created 20 test cases, and you find that 20, 15 test cases are valid and which should be there, and you can just directly paste it to or have it imported to your management tool. Similarly, I'll take an example. So it is giving you a tag as well, whether it's a functional test cases, smoke test cases, regression. So it should be part of which category. So it will give you all those informations directly. Now let's take an example. This is an epic. So suppose if we have, I'll go back to functional testing. I'll do test case generation. I go to story. Now, what if I have multiple stories and I want to generate the test cases out of it? So again, I'll take an example of KAN6 and KAN7. These are the two stories that we have created. I say generate. Now what it will do is it will read out both the stories, create all the possible test cases out of those two stories. You can enter multiple stories again. So there is no limit on the number of test cases that can stories that can be added here. You can have multiple stories entered. So once your model scans through each and every stories, each and every AC point, we can add a, like this is again being handled by us. We can add a one more check to read out through the comments as well, because I have seen in the past people add comments, and like the product team adds information in the comment, but they have forgot to update the AC point. So it's just a simple thing. Your model can read through the comments as well and suggest your changes. Again, that will be a part of business requirement and product, but there is no limit on how we can leverage AI. So here I have entered two stories. It says for KAN6, the creator, and it has created some test cases out of it, that again we can just copy paste and have it in your Jira board itself. And similarly for KN7 also it will generate. So if I scroll down, okay, so I think there was missing steps in KN7, but whatever stories that you are passing, it will generate the test cases out of it. Again, why KN7 is not displaying? As I mentioned, these are the mock stories that we created like few minutes back, and that's why there's a possibility KN7 does not have anything. Moving on. Suppose the bugs. We want to create the test cases out of bugs as well. So routing will be same. I can just directly click on the bug from there, and else what I can do is I can click on test case generation, log a bug. I navigate to this place, enter bug number. Let's say KAN 31 and KN 38. These are two bugs that we have created and entered. I clicked on generate. Now what it will do, so again it will go through the bugs. So there's a possibility the bug that you have documented contains certain steps, but there can be more to it. There's a possibility with those four line itself there can be multiple scenarios that can be created out of it. So it will help you with that as well. So it will go through it, read out each, or like read through the each line and create individual scenarios for that. Okay, so this was okay, not all about functional testing. We have implemented multiple things for functional testing as well. So suppose now once you have completed your test case generation, you have to document bugs as well. Let me go to log a bug again. Like I was sharing during the test case generation piece of it, now you have the bandwidth to do exploratory testing as well. So with this tool, when you are documenting a bug, you have two options. So suppose there's a test case that starts failing and you have to document a bug. Second thing is, you are doing an exploratory testing. You can share to us the scenario or the steps that you have produced, and it will formulate the bug for you. So for instance, I'll show you an example for test case for today. Okay. Let's say the test case ID is 67. I click on generate piece of it. Now it will go through this, it will read the test cases, generate all the possible bugs from that test case. This might take us like 20-25 seconds to generate all the possible test bugs for the test cases. So if you see here, the bug 1 it created, similarly bug 2 it has created, and it is showing you the priority and severity of those scenarios as well. The expected result, actual result, and everything will be displayed here. And again, based on the functional tester that is performing, if any modification is needed, they can directly do. And if they want any information to be updated here itself, like the priority and severity, other information that needs to be added, that changes can be done very quickly. Okay, and similarly, now if you're doing exploratory testing, you can just enter the prompt, the scenario that you perform, the result that you're getting, the expected result it should display. So in a simple English language, the person can enter the prompt, and we, as the tool, will generate the proper formatted output for it. So they don't have to put effort in formulating that. We will do it for them. Okay, so for today, there are more to it. For functional testing itself, you can do edge case analysis, you can do test data creation, we can help you create your test data as well, database testing, API testing from the functional testing perspective as well. Everything you will find in a single stop solution for today. As for the demo purpose, test case generation and log a bug, I have demoed. Okay.
So, Mayank, I have
Uh,
a question here before you move on to automation testing. So, for functional testing, I saw the test cases are being generated. So, suppose you have a case where a new story is being implemented in the current sprint, a new feature is being added in the current sprint, but it's related to few stories that were implemented 2 3 sprints back, right?
okay.
So is this tool going to correlate the current sprint story with the stories that were implemented before, and generate test case, I mean, meaningful test cases out of all of them?
Got it. Absolutely. So I'll take two aspect of it. So there can be a possibility an epic was written sometimes a year back. I'll take an example of an year. An epic was written an year back. Now there was changes related to that epic in the current financial year. Okay. So what people can do is, again, there are two answers for you these two questions in two different approaches. I'll try to answer. So the first thing, what is currently implemented is, person can enter the epic that was written in the last year, comma, the new epic. Now what the AI model will do, it will read through it. Once it has read the older epic and the newer epic, it will generate the test cases based on the newer epic that you have entered. And it will, so sometimes in the stories, I have seen multiple instances where they will do is, information enter as per the story ABC hyphen 123, few pieces were taken from the previous stories, and now the changes will be, the label of the text ABC is getting updated. So it will read through the older epic, all the stories from the older epic, new epic, and based on the newer epic that you are entering, it will generate the updated response for you. So
That
yes,
sounds good.
it will go through it. As a future scope, what we are going to do is, again, this is in pipeline. it will go through your Jira board, Zephyr board, test link, ADO, whatever management tool you are using. It will scroll through it. Whatever the test cases are linked to the stories. Again, test cases should be linked to the story. It will go through the stories, all the existing stories from the older epic. It will suggest you the changes as well. And once you click on the accept or the changes, it will update your test cases directly. Okay,
Okay, great.
so we have that in pipeline, but currently, if the user enters the older epic and the newer epic, it will suggest you the test cases on based on the newer epic, and you can directly change it into your management tool. I hope this answers your question, Anshuman.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Okay, so now on top of it, let's move to the automation testing. And Anshuman, I will take help from you. So since you've been into the industry for a longer time and you are doing the automation as well, what is the biggest, I'll not say challenge, but most of the tedious tasks that you have performed, be it for an existing framework you are doing, or you have started doing an automation for a new page that developer had just pushed in.
So, if you are talking about a web page, uh, the most painful area is identifying the locators of that application. You have to go to the application, inspect it, and look for the XPath and CSS or class. So again, that is the most painful area that I can think of.
Under the table, I kept my finger crossed and I was hoping you will say this because this is the first option that we have. And I was about to talk about the same. Okay, so locators creation. Absolutely. Whenever there's a new page comes in, what we need to do is open the dev tool, start inspecting whatever the locators that we want. Absolute XPath is a very simple thing. You can just do a current copy of it. But when you start creating relative XPath, it takes time, it takes effort to create the relative XPath, right? Because you need to put some more kind of siblings if there is no locators directly available. Okay, so based on that, you have to put effort, and now you have to paste everything into your IDE as well. So for reference, I have a dome structure of an application, an open source application. What you need to do, you need to just copy the dome and you need to add a prompt to it. So suppose here I'm saying that I need all the relative XPath for the below dome with valid variable name as a string so that I can directly copy paste this into an IDE. Why as a string? Because I'll be using this for Java with Selenium. For scripting language, you have other variants. For Python, you have other variants to denote. So that's why in the prompt itself, I have added as a string. Now what it will do, it will read out the entire DOM structure for us. And now it will create all the possible locators. So see, for first name, it has created. For other ID, it has created the locators for us. We can just directly copy paste it. And again, if you have a certain specific standard, the variable's name, here I have not asked it, I just said to have a variable as a string. But suppose you want to put camel casing, Pascal casing, whatever standard you want to follow, you can share that and the model will generate the response for you. So again, effort in creating those uh, locators manually is getting reduced significantly. And now again, there's a possibility again, as we started earlier in this session itself, AI and uh, like human intervention goes hand in hand, or AI and human goes hand in hand. So intervention is required. So there is a possibility certain locators not working as expected because we are not ensuring that 100% of target can be achieved or 100% of accuracy can be achieved, but things goes in hand. So there's a possibility 1,000 locators got generated and you have to modify just 4 or 5 of it, but the amount of effort it saves in creating those 1,000 locators is significant. Now, moving on, once we created the locators, once we have things in place, we have to do an execution of it. So here again, being a one-stop solution, you don't have to open a new tab, enter the URLs, and start the continuous integration. Here you will have the codes, the custom function that you want, execution report, test execution. So I'll take an example of test execution itself. I click on it. So what it will do is it will open a new tab. So here we are using GitHub Actions for our CI/CD pipeline. So if the team is using Jenkins and any other CI/CD tool, you'll click on test execution and it will open that tab for you, and you can directly start the execution from there. Okay.
That's great,
Yeah.
man. So I have another question here. Like you generated locators for a new web page, right? So
Mhm.
it listed down all the locators which are there on the web page. So what if there's an existing page and updates have been made, right? Now again, in that case, how is this tool handling? Is auto healing in place?
Okay. Yes, Anshuman. So yes and no. Currently, auto healing, since in the starting of the session, if I remember, I shared this. We have this demo already, or this particular tool is already in place for one of the client. So, but our team is currently working on the auto healing process as well. So it's completed in the POC phase and it has completed in the first round of testing phase. But we'll be rolling that out very soon. Auto healing is an agenda, and maybe somewhere down the line in next 2 or 3 sprints, we'll have auto healing as well in this particular tool itself. So yes, auto healing is a very must thing in today's time, because in the agile, in the world of agile, keeps our changes. Sorry, things are getting changed very frequently, and we need auto healing in process or in place, and we'll have that in mind. So you will see auto healing as well somewhere down the line within, I believe, in the month, the next month, very soon. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. So moving on to the analytics piece of it. So suppose, again, being a one-stop solution. So suppose if you want, the product wants to see the current status of their project. So they want to see the status chart of the stories. They want to see the status of the test cases. They want to see the bugs that is getting created for each functionality, the automation chart, and so on. So currently we have these four chart in place. So if you can see, there are 42 stories that are in to do bucket, 3 is in progress, test cases, 11 test cases got passed, 4 failed, 3 blocked. You can mouse over and it will show you those information as well. The bug chat, you can see the 14 test cases are related to the profile setting, run creation, player simulation, and similarly for automation. So being it a one-stop solution, be it for the business team, BA team, the product manager, the functional testing team, you will find all the things here. Yes.
So, Mayank, I have another question related
Okay.
to the test case generation. You were passing Jira IDs, like so
Yes.
that may be specific to a particular client, but this tool is available to all the people in the organization, right?
Exactly.
And they might be working on some other client, right? So they would be passing some other Jira ID for test case generation. So how is this tool handling? Is it going to mix the data of both the clients together, or are they being maintained separately?
Okay, great question, Anshuman, and thank you for bringing that up. Yes, we have put all the possible guardrails in place. So, suppose in a organization itself, there is a team A and a team B. Both are working on a different product or for a different project. Information from team A will never be shared with team B. So, there is a guardrail in place. All the information we are using database and everything, so database is also getting maintained separately for each and every product or project. So why so? Because we don't want the information to be shared, not even outside the world, within its SDET itself. So everything will remain in isolation. I'll give an example. So this is for one of the client, and here if I enter the story ID, epic ID, be it anything of a different client, and I'll click to ask it to generate. you will get this following key are not a valid epic. You can paste it into story bug. So we have put all the necessary guardrails in place, so information will never be shared across the different client itself. Forget about outside the world. It Everything is in house, and we are maintaining this sanctity of the client, and the information will remain intact.
Okay, so
I hope
everything
this
is
was your question.
hosted
Yeah,
internally, right? Yes, yes, that does.
absolutely.
Okay, that's great.
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
I have another question related to automation. So suppose
Hmm.
there's a new feature being added. So is this tool capable of creating custom functions, like rather than going to your ID and writing it on your own? So is it capable of generating custom functions?
Absolutely. Again, I'll take an example for that one. There is no AI tool, or people will not like AI tool without doing a random prompt to the AI tool, because we are tester and we want to test the application, and we just put in random prompts as well to the AI tool. I hope I have done that to Chat GPT or other AI model, where just I put random string and asked it, and just to test out what how the AI model is performing. Similarly, for us, we have put general chat in place. Now, for your like modular function, or the function that we want the AI model to generate, I can enter here. So suppose if I enter a prompt using Java, create a function to read information from Excel cell. Let's say I asked it to create using Java and sent this prompt. Now, what it will do is it will share the test case. Sorry, not the test cases. It will share you the function that you can directly copy paste into your Java project and read it. So it will share what are the files that need to be imported, and you can share all the other information, the dependencies it required. It has shared that as well. You can just directly copy this and paste it. And if you're not using POM, you can or sorry, Maven. If you're not using Maven, whatever framework that you're using, you can add that prompt here, and it will give you response accordingly.
Okay,
I hope this
that
was the
looks
question,
awesome.
right?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
this looks awesome. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So I have explained about the analytics as well, and we are we are making sure that new changes are rolling out every other week. Yes, and with this, Anshuman, do you like to take forward?
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Mayank. So, talking about this tool, we have started using this tool for one of the clients, and we have seen positive results. Like it has reduced the testing time and testing cycle. So, which has resulted like the QA folks can uh, put their focus on the edge cases, right, and they can work on some other innovations, right. So this has uh, helped positively in shaping the future of QA, right. And as we all hear about from the past 1 year or 2 years, so we have started leveraging AI, and it has definitely been effective and increasing overall productivity, but there's nothing to be worried about our jobs and all. Like it's all
Yes.
about upskilling and leveraging the new technologies in the market and add continuous values to our customers. So, having said that, over to you,
Anshuman, I would like
Sneha.
to add a point. I would like to
Yeah,
add a
yeah,
point
sure.
before we hand over to Sneha. I
Sure.
was talking to one of the client the other day, and the client was using our tool, and the discussion that went was a very positive discussion. And the discussion, they said like, with the using of this tool now, the functional engineers will have more bandwidth, or the automation engineer has the more bandwidth, and they are able to deliver things with more accuracy. Now the sprint that they were using, they are saying they are in the progress to reduce the sprint cycle by 30%, which may sound less, but it's a big change because of the client that we are working with. There are a lot of changes that they are working on every sprint. Now they can reduce the sprint cycle by 30%. Now there's a separate discussion going on how they want to manage that with more exploratory testing, more rigorous testing, but this tool is capable of doing that. Sorry for
Yeah, man.
interrupting. Yeah,
No
now
issues.
we can hand over to Sneha. Yeah.
Thank you, Anshuman, and thank you, Mayank, for this insightful session. We hope the information shared today has provided you with valuable strategies and tools to elevate your software quality and testing process through AI-driven automation and continuous testing. I hope my audience would have, appreciated this as a. So now we'll move on to the QA session. I have actually received few questions in my chat bot, and I think we should directly dive into it, right?
Yes, now.
Okay, great. So I can see the very first question I have received is, what kind of language and model are you using?
Okay, Anshuman, if you don't mind, I'll try to take that one.
Yes, yes, definitely, man. Please go ahead.
Okay, so model, I don't think I'm in liberty to share the model that we are using, but for the front end, we are using React.js, and for the back end, we are using Python. So all the backend piece, the API layer, everything is been written in Python itself, because Python gave you more edge than other language in some way, not in all aspect. And for the front end, we are using React.js. Yeah.
Nice. Great, great. I hope Mayank have already answered your question. Now, going to this next question, we have, what are the management tools it supports?
Okay, I would like to take it up. So the demo that Mayank showed was integrated with Jira, but it's not limited to Jira. I mean, the tool is developed in such a modular way that it can be integrated with any of the tools. Not any, most of the tools like which are being generally used in the market. We can talk about the test case management. We have tested it with TestLink and Zephyr as well. And for the overall management, we were able to integrate with one of the Azure DevOps client, the Azure DevOps, which we are using for one of our clients. So
Great, great.
yes, that answers
Yeah.
the question. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might have answered the question as well. So moving to the next question, I have a question which is a bit longer. Let me give it to you. So that is, can we use some other models as the models are being trained day by day rather than hosting it internally? Can we use another open source trained model, and how much time will it take? I think that's a good
Uh,
question.
yeah, Anshuman, I'll take that one because I think this is the question from the very first answer that I gave. Maybe that same person have asked the same question. Okay, so yes, absolutely. Currently, the model that we are using, we have made our tool so modular. So if one of the client has a need, they wanted to go for a specific model, we can just directly plug and play. So we had made sure to make everything that much modular and robust, so it can be changed. So suppose the model that we are using, we get a newer model with more capability, and we are in phase of developing our own model as well. I'm not sure how it will pan out, but we are in discussion of that as well. So yes, to answer your question, we can change it whenever necessary. It's just a small change, and it will be ready to go. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. I hope that answers the question. I think we are having short of time, but just to take the last question, I'm there are further very lots of questions out there, but we'll of course gonna answer them all and give them in their inbox later on. Taking the last question up, Now, what are the future trends and where do you see these tools heading?
Okay, so we are in Agile. So we have a lot of things in pipeline and being delivered in sprints. So the next phase, we are thinking of integrating this tool directly with VS Code. As Mayank also talked about, auto healing will be the next part. Then again, we have thought of making it as a plugin which will do the code review itself. So these all will be rolled out in the coming months. So that is where we want to take this tool to. So that
Nice.
answers the
That
question.
seems, yeah, completely. I think that seems pretty much good updates which are coming up soon. So, yeah, I think that is it. And thank you for all your great questions and to our very speakers for answering them with such clarity. We hope today's discussion has been valuable for you and has sparked new ideas on how to enhance your software quality through AI driven automation and continuous testing. As we wrap up, I would like to remind everyone that the recording of this session will be published on our YouTube channel soon. And if you have any sort of question with our expert, if you had to discuss anything, you can just send us any of your queries and give us over the email, and we'll definitely get back to you over there. Now, thank you for the day, and thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for our speakers, Anshuman and Mayank. Have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all for joining.
Bye.
Yeah.